Hi, my name is Molly Getz, and I want to be a redken artist. I have a strong passion for creating beautiful hair, living a fulfilled life, and passing on all the knowledge I've acquired through my years in this industry. I have been teaching the Summit Salon Associate Program at our salon for 3 years now, and I've also had the opportunity to teach at various cosmetology schools in our area. These have been really rewarding experiences for me, and they've also been really great growing and learning experience as well. In this video, I had the opportunity to teach a finishing skills class at a local cosmetology school. All the skills that I taught in the class were based on techniques that I have learned through my time being a tear sheet artist. I hope you like it.
So what I want to go over with you guys today is how to get the end result that you're looking for by planning out your styling. Whether it's doing updos for your girlfriends for prom or just doing a simple curling iron set for someone who just wants to wear their hair curly for the day, or even something as simple as a ponytail technique, right? Because sometimes the most simple looking styles can be the most difficult to achieve. These are a couple images of my work that I did with tear sheet. So this is one, and I'm going to be using these images as my inspiration today for 2 looks that I want to teach you guys. So this one is going to be just more of like a ponytail look. And you don't have to always use a ponytail as just a ponytail. Ponytails are fantastic tools for foundation of a style or when you just need some stability in an up style. So I want to go over ponytails with you guys too because it seems like, oh, it's just a ponytail, just wrap it up, right? But if you can find a way to do it in a way that's going to stay and not cause any creasing or any bumps and lumps, people are going to be wowed. And the way I show you too, people will be like, oh, that's sweet. They're like, I've never seen a ponytail like that. So that's look number 1. My second little girl here is going to be a curl set that I show you guys. So this is going to be our second inspiration picture to go off of. So what I'd like to start with is obviously, let me actually start with this. How many of you have opened up a mannequin out of a box before? Taken a brand new mannequin out of a box. And you know what they look like. Like Hot Mess 101, right? So this Mary here, this is Mary, she clearly was not just like pulled out of a box, right? So the prep of hair, we can pretend Mary is a real person, she just doesn't talk much. The prep of their hair is so important because it can really make your styles last a lot longer than if you just start throwing curls in, just start throwing bobby pins in without anything in their hair. So I have prepped all 3 of my mannequins just for the sake of time this morning. And I shampooed all 3 of them with the Redken Color Extend Magnetic Shampoo because they all were freshly colored as well. Just to make it nice and shiny for you guys. Before I blew all 3 of them dry, I put the Redken Guts 10 spray in their hair. And what I did was I took sections and sprayed the spray about, at the roots to about 3 inches off the scalp. All right? So I did that from roots to ends all the way through the whole head. Okay? What I liked the Guts 10 for is for control. So there's a little bit of almost like a stiffness to her hair right now for grip, but it doesn't make her hair sticky. And also volume too, because who wants, a slicked back ponytail with no grip? We need some grip in order to get these ponytails to last. On her ends, I use Redken Satin Wear 02. It's a heat protective lotion. So since we were blow drying and with the other ones applying a hot curling iron, why would you want to put a 450 degree curling iron on fragile hair, right? So heat protection is absolutely key. It also gives the hair a really nice shine, and it also gives it some movability too, so that way it's not, my combs aren't getting stuck in the hair. Cool? Mm-hmm. Cool. So, what Mary has also had done to her that I forgot to mention is she was directionally blow dry. So, does anyone know what directionally blown dry means? Perfect, thank you. That's exactly right. So, would it make much sense if I knew that I was going to put a ponytail in Mary's hair, if I was going to fasten a ponytail right here, do you think it would make sense for me to have blown dry all of her hair straight forward? straightforward, everything straightforward. Right, no, that would make no sense. That would create a lot of lifting through her scalp, and then when you pull it all back, you would have lots of little lumps and bumps. So why I directly blew dry the hair, my grammar's really good too. Remember all the grammar lessons you guys learned in school, because it'll help you in life, I promise. So all this hair was blown to this point. So I was taking all this hair in the back, straight up with the blow dryer, everything was coming back to this location right here in the back. And that's gonna help prevent lumps, bumps, and it does actually help prevent flyaways on most hair too. She has a little bit of like extra flyaways going on, a little bit extra breakage going on, but we're gonna take care of that. Since it was blown dry this way, it'll be much easier to fasten it to the head with some hairspray. Okay, so the first step I'm gonna do is just pull all the hair back to where I want it to be in my hand. But you're gonna want your dominant hand to be the hand that puts in the elastic, okay? So you're gonna go under with your dominant hand and then back under with your non-dominant hand. All right, so you're gonna hold it nice and tight. So she's not going anywhere. We're gonna take our elastic, and I mentioned I had 2 bobby pins on this, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, just making sure. What we're gonna do with the first bobby pin is put it straight into the head, okay? Right at the top of our my fingers, my pinky finger, right? Straight down, parallel with the head, okay? Good with the first step? Very simple. Now the reason you want your pinky finger side of your hand to be attached to the head is we're gonna wrap this ponytail around our hand, and we want to be able to make sure it's tight enough that I can let go and not have the whole thing fall, okay? So, with my dominant hand, I'm gonna take the elastic and I'm going to spin it counterclockwise for lefties. It'd be clockwise for righties, okay? So, spin it around the hand nice and tight, like I'm pulling this sucker as tight as possible. And we're just gonna keep wrapping until we lose our bobby pin in the hair. No, not really. Until we don't have any more to wrap, okay? So, when we don't have any more to wrap, we want to take the pin, and I call this like the little leap of faith to let go. And then you want to take the pin back into the hair, put it straight in to the scalp, and push it down. Then we have our pony.
That's cool.
Now we can go back and refine some of these parts. So if you do have a couple little lumps and bumps, you can take a tail comb and kind of fish them out. But I want to show you guys how tight this ponytail is. So if you want to just kind of go in through and like squeeze it and see how tight it is. So let's talk a little bit about curls and how a type of curl can affect your outcome. So how many times have you gone to put your girlfriend's curls in, her hair is like that long, and you put all these curls in and you're holding your barrel of your iron vertically and you're like curling her ends, and then you get to the top and you're still kind of like holding the iron vertically, and you're like, oh, this is going to be so much volume and so much like fluffiness of your hair, and you go to like comb it out and it literally is hanging in like sad ringlets. So your outcome wasn't what you expected it. What'd you say?
That happens to my hair, I think, and then it like just falls off.
Right. So it's sad, right? Which is sad. It's like, why did that not turn out? Well, when you think about the different types of curls that you can do on someone's hair and how it affects your end result, it can totally change our game when we curl hair. So why she looks like this is kind of a pattern for how I parted my mannequin friend Irene out. Actually, we'll bring Irene out from the shadows, poor thing. She's just hiding back here. She's shy. We can set her right here. How about that? So, my first question before we even start this is, why did I set her like this? Why does she look like Martha Washington?
So it lasts longer?
What did you say?
So it lasts longer?
Right. So what happens when we put a curl in the hair and we let it hang on hair as long as, what was your name? I'm sorry.
Nicole.
Nicole. can't read upside down. When we put a curl in Nicole's hair and we let it hang and then we like brush through it in like 2 minutes.
So fall
It totally falls. So we set these curls because it's holding our curl pattern longer. She's actually set for almost 12 hours, so her curls should be good to go. I mean, normally we can let the curls set like that for like 10 to 20 minutes and they'll be totally cool and they will last for, I mean, days if you don't want to wash your hair, but should last at least, for a look for the night. So I will go over the pattern that I used after we go through all of like the types of curls. Is that cool? We'll keep her a mystery for a little bit. So my little friend Haley here, what we did was I sectioned her off, and I'm going to show you a couple curls on her head so you can see the different looks. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Alright, so first of all, who can tell me what an on-base curl is? Wait, where did that voice come? It's a little voice, yes. Look, I hear it, it's over here.
What do you want the most out of?
Exactly, so an on-base curl is when you're going to want the most amount of volume. So the way we put an on-base curl in, if you can see my little illustration here, is if your parting is on the side of the head like this, you are actually going to be elevating the hair up at like a 45-degree angle. Because when you start to roll that curl back down to the head, it's actually going to sit directly on top of your parting. And you're going to get lots of volume. The most amount of volume with this type of curl.
If you hold the hair straight up, when you start curling?
Well, when you hold this hair straight up off the head, that's actually going to be a different type of base. So you want to elevate it 45 degrees. So if you have like an inch thick parting on the head, and you elevate the hair 45 degrees with the iron, once you start to roll that iron back, it's going to sit directly on top of the parting. About to unleash the beast here. Watch out. So let's do a test one here so you can. Just gonna comb her out real quick. Now I'm just gonna tilt her head for lack of like this not being the top of her head, so you guys can kind of get the idea of what it would be like at the top. So, an on-base curl. I'll do one side for you guys so you guys can see the angle, then I'll turn so my other side where you can see the angle. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you are going to pull the hair out at a 45-degree angle. And you see how it sits right on top of the section when you roll it back down. Cool? One for this side. 45-degree angle out. And then when you roll it back in, it sits right on top of the section. Cool? You get the gist? Just gonna let that sit. She also had hot sets 22 sprayed on her hair because I'm going to go over her head with an iron probably 3 other times in that same section. So we need to protect our fragile hair. Okay, cool. So lots of volume with an on-base curl. You guys cool with that? What about half off base? How much volume do you think you'd get with a half off base curl? Is, if I write MED, like MED, is that cool?
Yeah.
So with a half off base, you will be pulling the hair out from the section straight out. So it would be like a 90-degree angle from a vertical, okay? So when you roll that back down, it's actually going to sit on the bottom half of your parting. So this would be, you would use like half off base curls if you were, you know, doing the bottom half of someone's head, or if someone just didn't want like Dolly Parton volume. Assuming you guys know who Dolly Parton is. Okay. Just making sure. I know who Coolio was. Okay, so there we go. So for this side of the room, you go straight up from your section and roll it back. So you see how it's actually kind of pulling back from the front of the section a little bit? That's going to put a little bit less volume in that area. Does that make sense? Okay. So straight up from the section, and let the iron sit at the back part of the section. Cool? Okay, we'll stop right here. Okay. What about an off-base curl?
No.
Right. Low volume. Where is my? Oh, right here. Melting by my. That's a good place for it. Low volume. So, why would you use an off-base curl? Right, a little bit. Like if you're doing the bottom of the head, or like by the nape, or if you just don't want a lot of curl at the base. So, obviously with an off-base curl, you are not bringing your curling iron up to the base at all. So your iron will be sitting low. So for something more along the lines of like this type of curl, right, you're gonna be sitting low. Low off of the party. So how can knowing these different types of bases change the way you look at your styling when you use a curling iron? Or even round brushing, blowing out someone's hair with a round brush doing like a blowout. How do you think this can make you think a little bit more about mapping out your styles? Are you gonna think about mapping out your styles? I hope so, right? Because when I did this whole look, I literally mapped out her whole head before I even started to know what kind of volume I was going to put in her hair, where, what type of curls. So it's really important to do that, or else your end result is not going to look like what you think it is if you don't think a little bit more about how you're going to put your style in and what foundations you're going to use, right? So those are really important. I have one more to go off of, and this one is kind of tricky. Over-directed base. How much volume do you think an over-directed base, if you're going to pull the hair
A lot.
straight forward off of the head? So you'd be rolling it straight forward off the head, and as you roll it back, it's going to sit at the front of the section.
A lot. Like, get a lot of volume.
It actually is not a lot of volume, because what's happening is you're flattening out this base. So this is like good if you want some control like behind the hair, but it does not give you a lot of volume, because once you flatten all of that base out, it's flat. It's done, it's sad. So an over-directed base is low. So knowing this, it's really important that you know the difference when you are curling between an over-directed base and an on-base curl, because if you think you're doing an on-base curl to get a lot of volume, but you're over-directing the hair too much, you're not going to build that volume in your set. Cool? Okay. So I have a vertical curl, a diagonal curl, I did this one diagonally forward, and then a horizontal curl. Alright? So we're going to let her sit for just 1 minute more so I can comb them out and show you the difference in the curls. Let's take some ideas of how we think these curls are going to turn out. So with this vertical curl, how many of us do vertical barrel curls a lot? Yeah. What kind of a look does it give your hair? Like
Really spiraling.
yeah, like spirally, ringlety. It gives like that traditional, like you have someone that wants to see that curl pattern come down off of their head, okay? So would you say it kind of kept its shape pretty well when I combed it out? Yeah. Right? Can you all see this on this side? I said y'all, sorry. Didn't mean to. I'm from here. I promise. All right, what about a diagonal curl? Have any of you guys ever done a full set on someone's hair with holding a barrel at a diagonal? Cool, so what do you think it'll do? If a vertical curl holds its shape and holds that curl pattern, when I brush this, the diagonal curl, when I brush it out, obviously gravity, you know what happens with gravity. Like, it's gonna fall, right? If I drop this comb here, or if I drop it in Russia, it's gonna fall. So the same thing happens with hair. If I hold my hair up like this for like 14 hours, and I drop it, it's gonna fall. So with these curls, we all know that they are gonna fall down off the head. But the pattern that they take on and the final look that it gives, that's how we determine what angle we put our barrel at. So what do you think is gonna happen with this diagonal curl? Do you think it's gonna be more soft looking of a curl, or is it gonna be more spirally? I heard that was always soft. Cool, thank you, Nicole. So let's comb this out and see, compared next to the. So can you see a difference between the two, diagonal and vertical? The diagonal curl just has a little more fullness and a little more softness through it. Yeah. So a diagonal curl is really good for someone who wants like that curl pattern but wants like full and fluffy. What about the last one, the horizontal curl? Has anyone done a full set on someone's hair with all horizontally placed curls? Why not? What does it make you think of?
Hairspray.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I think
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Roller set.
So like my lovely grandmother. Do you believe that it's going to take that shape if you apply horizontal curls to someone with Nicole's length of hair on their whole head? Will it look like a roller set?
No.
So when we curl out a horizontally set curl, how much more volume does that have in it, the look of it, than the diagonal and the vertical? Do you see the difference now? So do you think that there is like a time that you would use a horizontal curl? Yeah. If someone just wants like a really fluffy look to their hair, they want a lot of volume in their hair. Someone maybe that has a lot of long hair and they're like, oh, my hair just hangs. I want volume at my ends. That's when you would choose more of a horizontal pattern or even a diagonal pattern. Yeah.
How would you part it though?
How would I part it?
Yeah, like to get all, you know what I mean, like get all those.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. What's your name? I'm sorry.
McKenna.
McKenna. Okay. When I parted out Miss Irene here, I just used the changes of directions on the head. And it just depends on what kind of a look, but I think that that's one of the easiest ways to kind of start when you're working with partings, is just use the changes of directions. So in the back, I used where her nape is, where is the occipital bone, where that comes out. I separated that out, and that was the nape. I did have to take some like subsections in there, but I separated the nape out from everything, and then I did the back and the sides. So where the head changes shape on the side, where it flattens out, that's where I determine, where the side parting is, okay? And then I actually continue that all around to the back. So the same thing with the back, when I put my comb flat on the head, and it separates from the occipital bone and then the top, that's where my back section is. Cool? And then the top and the crown is everything from this parietal ridge up.
Okay.
Now with Irene, she has a side parting. So when I part out Miss Haley here, I did it off of a side parting. Now the reason I did it off of a side parting for this look today is because with our inspiration picture, she doesn't have a lot of volume at her part. It's all of her volume lives more at the bottom lengths of her hair. So I wanted to kind of emulate that. So I parted the curls off of her parting. If you wanted more volume at the parting, you could place the curls directly on her parting. And then when you pull that parting out, the curls kind of like fluff out and go their different directions. So that's how you could, determine to do a full head. It just makes it easier. Again, I'm like all about mapping out your direction with how you approach a look.
So that wraps up my 2 looks that I was showcasing. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed creating it for you. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to hopefully being a member of the Redken family soon.